Okay, so angles in triangles. The interior angles, that's the ones on the inside, always on a triangle, total 180 degrees. Once you know that, you can work out missing angles. So you've got two angles given on a triangle, so 75 plus 80, and they make 155 degrees. You need to work out what the missing angle is, x, when you add 155 to it to get that total of the 180 in the first place. So what is that missing angle? You can use inverse operation like in previous videos, 180, subtract the 155 to see what that missing angle must be worth, and that would be 25 degrees. Again, remember you can check it, pop the 25 in, double check the three angles, add back up to 180. Second style question, very similar, but it's just knowing what this symbol means. And again, from previous videos, that's a 90-degree angle. So then you follow the same principles. The 90 and the 40 make 130 degrees of the triangle. We know that the missing angle plus that 130 degrees should total 180. You can use inverse operation, or just if you can spot it, 180 minus that 130 gives you the missing angle of 50 degrees. So that's the basic triangles. Then you've got special types of triangles. So if we look at this one, we've got isosceles triangles. So you can identify an isosceles triangle by seeing these two symbols, which is just shown there the same length. Now if a triangle has got two sides of the same length, then it's an isosceles triangle, and what's special about that is the base angles, so those two angles at the bottom are then equal to each other, so they're the same. So what we know about the triangle so far is that it adds up to 180 degrees, and so far we only have 24 degrees of it. So if we take off that 24 degrees, we will see what those two angles at the bottom must add up to. So 180 minus 24 leaves you with 156, and that is technically those two angles. So if that one's x, that is x. So those two angles, you could call it 2x if it helps, those two angles make 156. Or you can just think about it logically, if two of those make it, you can divide by 2 to get what one of those angles must be. So 156 divided by 2 is going to give you 78 degrees. Now if we have a look at the second example, it's probably a little bit easier than that first one. We've got the two lines again, so it's showing that the lengths are the same. So again, it's an isosceles triangle, and the base angles are the same as each other. So this one's easy because here we know it's 61, therefore we know the base angle on the bottom must also be 61 degrees. Now using that in the calculation, I know I've got 61 degrees plus the other 61 degrees, so I know this time I've got a total of 122 degrees of that triangle. I know it's supposed to add up to 180, so if I do 180 and I subtract that 122 degrees from it, that's going to give me the missing angle of 58 degrees. So one last isosceles triangle to look at. Some people find this one a little bit more challenging. Firstly, we know it's isosceles again. We've got the same lengths. And if you remember, I keep saying the base angles are the same. Now the base angles are the same as each other when you're looking at the isosceles triangle and the two lengths are facing you, so that you've got the base angles there. So the way the triangle is in its current orientation, the base angles aren't down here, we haven't got them. So if you imagine rotating it, so now that shape becomes this way around, that would be 38 degrees there, showing that these two angles at the top are in fact the base angles. So this is x that we're looking for, and that's probably an easier picture. So in the exam, if you want to face the base angles to you, just turn your paper around. So now let's work it out. We know the main thing should add up to 180, but we only know 38 degrees of it. So if we take 180 and then subtract 38, we are left with 142 degrees. We know that 142 degrees is two of the angles. You can either put 2x, or if you prefer two angles, you can even write that, two angles. And then half that, so you get the one angle, or the angle x. and that's going to give you 71 degrees. And one final one, just a multi-step style problem, is that question there. Now we know angles in a triangle, and that is your triangle, add up to 180, and currently we only know one angle. Now with multi-step problems, it's about finding some other information first. So here we have a straight line. And what we know from previous videos about angles on a straight line is that they total 180 degrees. Now if we just look at that picture, we know we've got 125 degrees of it already. So to work out that missing angle, which is currently there, we need to do 180 minus that 125 to work out the missing angle. So that missing angle must be 55 degrees. So now we know the missing angle is 55 degrees, we can pop it up there, 55 degrees, we can focus on the triangle. We have 80 at the top, we have x there, and we now know that's 55. Working with that then, we can do the same process as always and do 80 plus 55 to work out what those two angles add up to. That's going to give us 135 degrees. We then just need to work out the missing angle, so we know it should add up to 180. So 180 minus that 135 gives us the missing angle of 45 degrees. So x is 45 degrees. So remember, multi-step problems, look for other angle factors as well, not just the triangle.